the new online exclusive and the new annual catalog. So we will start off with the online exclusive. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Impressions of Bloom. And this should look very familiar because this is what we used in our class in May. So our end of May class last Friday used this set. These are all the stamps in this set. I'll bring it up slowly so you can see. And then these are all the beautiful die cuts that come in this set. So you'll notice there's several die cuts that you can stamp and die cut, but there are a lot of die cuts that just die cut. And actually, we'll be seeing more of these die cuts later. Or did we use them all in the May? Never mind. I might have said that wrong. So if you like the suite, which I will say the suites are all going on sale starting June 3rd. So it's kind of confusing. It's the suites that go on sale, which means a lot of product, or the products that are part of a suite. So just because it's a bundle doesn't mean it's part of the sale, but if it's a bundle that's part of a suite, then it will be on sale. So it's a little bit confusing. Just send me questions if you have any about it. And I'm about to show you the wrong DSP. That's the way to start off, all confused. So that was Impressions of Bloom. And there should have been, here it is. Yep, I got my celebratory sips DSP mixed up. So here is the Floral Impressions DSP that we actually used in the May class. So it has nice small prints on the back, which is really nice with these big florals that you're seeing on the one side. So it's a nice combination of florals and small backgrounds. And like I said, this is called Floral Impressions, and it is part of the Impressions of Bloom suite. Also part of this suite is the Flower Garden foils, and you'll actually see some of this foil in the sailboat card that I gave you to put together for the debut kit. This set
The
of
silver.
specialty
Yeah.
papers, it's actually cloud cover, so it's kind of a bluish silver. It has, I'm thinking Poppy Parade. No, Strawberry Slush, sorry. And then Pretty in Pink. So you get two of each color, but each color, one has flowers and one kind of has a woven texture to it, like the one you got some of this on your sailboat card that we'll be looking at later. So this is also part of that suite. Also part of that suite is the Pressed Flowers embossing folder. And this particular folder was used on your celebratory sips card, which we'll talk about later when we get to it. But that is a 6x6 embossing folder. And the impressions just go part way to show these pressed flowers. So you've already seen some of these cards because these are the cards we made last week in class, but I was just showing them again to show you the paper that we used. That was part of this suite. And once again, several pieces on these cards were both discontinued, but I didn't know it at the time of designing, but they are using the new impressions, floral impressions DSP. And so quickly go through the last of these cards. Like I said, you've already made these cards because they were the May class, but just in case people didn't see them. Now, this is a new card. This card was actually made by my upline. So she used the embossing folder as the background, the ovals, and she loves glitter, so she has the glittery centers, but that's using this same exact set. All right, so that was everything. Oh, except possibly this. I think this is also included in the suite for the Impressions of Bloom dies, the foiled frames and labels ephemera pack. So it's interesting. They have you have the white tag with gold foiling, but you also have an outline to punch out too. So it's actually two pieces for each shape, if that makes sense. So the next online exclusive set is celebratory sips. So you do have this is your card that you'll be making, but everyone has a different drink to fussy cut. So you will have to fussy cut this card, but it's only one piece. Some of you have different shaped glasses. Let me see. Here's the paper that I got the different glasses from. So everyone's card's going to look a little bit different, but you notice this is the pressed flowers embossing folder from that last suite that I combined with the celebratory sips. I did not buy this stamp set. It does have a stamp set and a matching die cut set. So if you like this paper, it is called Celebratory Sips. I think this is my favorite pattern. And it has just some orange stripes on the back. This is probably my second favorite out of this set with the green on the back. It does have some really nice backs. I call them backs just because I tend to think of the floral part as the front. And then there's some secret C going on. Here's the cups, the glasses with some pink flowers. And finally, this one has, it looks like some sangria and some wine bottles there and that. So that is the DSP called Celebratory Sips. And like I said, it does come with die cuts where you can die cut some of the glasses, but we are fussy cutting. And you'll notice that as we go through our debut cards that you have in your kit, you have a matching set of dots. The dots match the card base. And you also have a entire set of sentiment pieces. Hi, Jan. So you pick and choose what sentiment piece you want to use, and those sentiment pieces came out of more messages, which we'll see later in a little bit. So you pick out which sentiment piece works the best for you. You don't have to make it exactly like mine. So that is the first debut card. The second debut card was using this set. This is the Sunrise Sailing Bundle. Once again, this is an online exclusive. We're not in the catalog yet. So if you like these sets, you'll need to go to the online exclusive section of the online store to see the sets. These are the stamps, and these are the die cuts. And so you notice the one big stamp does match the big sailboat, and you can also emboss that sailboat and cut it out at the same time. It also comes with these waves. So your debut card looks like this. I've just simply embossed white. Here's those garden foils that we talked about earlier. And once again, I'm using my Secret C dots to match my card base. And this time I used two of the sentiment pieces from the More Message set to do those. So that is your debut card. Maybe I should set those out just in case you have any questions at the end for the debut cards. I'll try and set them to the side. All right. Now, this one you've also seen because this is part of our June class, and this is our pop-up card. So we will be putting sailboats inside the box, and we will just have the embossed one on the outside. as well as those waves on the bottom. So I'm going to put this over on our June class. Also in our June class, we're going to make two of these cards. And I did have enough sunset paper. So both of these will have sunset paper, but the sunsets are just slightly different. So your cards will still be slightly different. The inside is stamped with the stamps that I just showed you. And I will be giving you the little Velcro closure to close it up. But these are the two cards we'll make also in June. So tonight is the last day to sign up for that, but I think everyone signed up, so we're good. The next online exclusive set is simply a stamp set. It's called Hugs and Healing, and it has cute little cats and dogs that look sick and wrapped up in a blanket. So I used the boho vibe, which I haven't shown you yet, to make some cards. And this one, I used the nested essentials to cut a hole, and I used another nested essentials to make the frame for it. And so he's actually on the inside of the card and you peek through. I will tell you, I did make a mistake. If you ever want to stamp something on the inside of your card and use alcohol markers, make sure you use a separate piece of white. I forgot to do that, and you see what happens on the back. So alcohol markers do bleed through. So if you want to color anything on the inside, make sure you use a separate piece of white to glue in. And like I said, this paper is Boho Vibes, which we will be getting to soon. Here's another card using the little kitty cat. Once again, using the alcohol markers. And another one using the last little guy. So that's Hugs and Healing. I will let you know when we get into the catalog, but there was so much that they put online exclusive that I really liked this time. So this next one's called Blooming Phrases. So you notice it has a nice long curvy section at the end because that's where you put one of these little blooms. So you can add whatever bloom you like to the end of each stem. Now you will notice that I've used some of these on some of the cards without the stem. I simply cover the stem with a Post-it note, ink up my stamp, and then take the Post-it note off, so then I don't have a long stem if you don't want it. So the first card I made, I actually saw this technique at convention where she took the thanks, and if you cut your square just right, you can stamp it all the way around and it looks connected. And then I simply just used the little daisy stamp. You do get a stem. There is a stem that you can use to go with the flowers. Or maybe I just used the tail end. I can't remember now since it's not stamped. But anyway, there is a little leaf that you can put with those. So I made the little daisies or black-eyed Susans. Here is a version that I made. You notice I put my flowers at the end of the happy birthday. And then I simply stamped, I used another little flower stamp, this tri-flower, to make my background. So that's all made with stamps. And here's the final one. Once again, I repeated it 3 times and then put some of that pressed flower embossing on the green and made a striped card. So I thought those were all fun ways to use this simple set to make 3 completely different cards. Now this is our new punch set. So the candy jar punch will punch out the candy jar and the lid at the same time. You can put shamrocks in it. You can make these jelly beans, or you can turn these jelly beans into cookies. These things down here are actually chocolate chips. So I'll show you a card made with those. And then you have hearts. And then there's all sorts of birthday candles. So you can actually put birthday candles inside the jar as well. So this is called Sweet Jar. And like I said, you can get just the stamp set or you can get it bundled with the punch. This is also one of your debut cards. So your debut card is Strawberry Slush. You're actually using some DSP from Turtley Cute. And then I used some silver foil for the lid. And once again, you pick out one of the sentiment pieces from More Messages. Now, the embossing down at the bottom, this is one of our new skinny embossing folders. You know how sometimes we have like the half size embossing folders? This is part of a set of two called Garden and Glass. So this is the glass version. Um, and we actually used that on our card last week. So that is Sweet Jar. I have two more to show you. So this was just using DSB. I thought it looked like gumballs. And then here is one using the hearts. And this time I used one of our circle punches. So once again, the hearts are on the inside of the card, but it's also seen on the outside, kind of a peekaboo half cover. And I told Pam, I sent this to Pam and told her I was thinking of her because she's all about those Irish. So I sent her a picture of the shamrock card. So I just have 3 jars that I punched out with the punch, and then I glued the lid because the lid is a separate part of the punch. And I just simply glued it on and stamped shamrocks. It also comes with a little shamrock that you can stamp down the side. And here is the cookie jar. So this was actually 3 different stamps to make the cookies. We had a solid stamp, then we had the stamp that kind of looks like jelly beans, but I'm putting the chocolate chips on them, so now they look like chocolate chip cookies. And this is still using one of our still current embossing folders, Forever Plaid. The final card in this set was actually made by my friend Christy, who is a fellow downline on Sandy's Dazzling Diamonds team. So this is the card she had us made at a swap we did. So some of these are from the storybook set with the little bunnies. And then these are the little bee trinkets, but she put the Darling Duckling dots next to it to make them look like fireflies. So that was pretty cute. And we are getting close to the end of the online exclusives. This set is called Scenic Adventure. So these are all the stamps for the Scenic Adventure, but these are all the dies, which I loved. And these are all edgelets. In other words, it only cuts the top on these. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 of them that are actually edgelets. So you can make the bottom as long or as short as you want. Then it just has some impression dies that cut lines for a lake. It also has one that just cuts out the moon and puts little dots for the stars. And then it also comes with a little fire going on there. So like I said, that is the Scenic Adventure Bundle. And here was just a quick, easy card made with this set. I just simply use the fire, and we will get to these a little later. These are part of that banner set at the back of the catalog. So I'll show you the bigger banners, but the smallest banner, you can fit like 4 of them on a card. So that's how I use the banners on the card, once again with some boho vibes going on. So this card I paired with the Nested Essentials to kind of frame my piece, and then I put my trees on the outside of it as well. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of paper. So it's actually quite thick when you look at it on the edge, but it makes a beautiful scene. And then I just put "Let the Journey Begin," but it would make a beautiful happy birthday card. And then I thought I would try a different version and put some flowers on it. So here I still have my mountain, my trees, my grass, and then I just put the flowers on top. And the You're Amazing, did I write? Nope, I didn't write which set that came from. I can't remember. Nope, it did come from the same set. Every once in a while, I grab one from another set. So that is also a sentiment from that set. And we are about to finish off the online exclusives with the More Messages set. So all of these are die cut at the same time. So you're not die cutting all these little pieces. So you got an entire set of these. Of course, they weren't stamped on, but the stamp and the die set match. So your stamp set's about this big. You stamp all the sentiments at once. Then you take your die cut, lay it on top, and die cut all of these sentiments all at once. So it's a quick and easy way to have a whole stack of sentiments ready to go. So you can get just the sentiments, or you can get them as a bundle with the die, or you can just get the die set. But like I said, it is one big die and one big stamp. So here's that embossing folder that we used for your debut card, the Glass and Gardens embossing folder. So here's the glass, here's the garden version. So this is an online exclusive. And like I said, it's the half, like 3x6 size. Oh, and somehow this got misplaced. This was supposed to go with the sailing set. This is actually the hybrid embossing folder. So the embossing folder and the die cut is sold together because you can use the die to cut out the sailboat. And actually, there was one I made, but I must have where I combined the stamps but it's coming later. All right, I think we can finally open the catalog. So I know some comments have already been made that there is a lot of scrapbooking in the new catalog. I think because it was the first time they put it in the catalog, they kind of put a lot in there. So, but I just showed you all the really cool stamp sets that we do have online. So we're still making a lot of stamp sets. They just didn't make it into the paper catalog. And I will tell you, there's more stamp sets coming out in July. So I probably during the July class, I'll be showing you some new stamp sets that are on the online exclusive set. So once again, we have the all sorts of information up front, some ideas. And then it talks about the kit collection. Now, some of the pictures in the kit collection have come out already, and some of them are sneak peeks at card kits that are to come. So on page 11, at the bottom is the heirloom arrangement. That came out a couple months ago, so I think I've already shown you this set. It makes 8 completely different cards with I consider it very Victorian, looking with the butterflies and the flowers. So if you like having cards that look different, this is definitely a set for you because every single one does look different. One of the brand new sets that came out this month, so it's already available, is the Beautiful Blues kit. And I just put mine together the other day. Ah, so here's the instructions. This is actually the stamp set. It comes with 3 sentiments and this leaf. But if you like blue and white, these are some beautiful blue and white cards. So here is the first one. Just had a stamp right there. It comes with this beautiful laser cut. This darker blue is a laser cut die cut. And then these are a die cut. Then we have this one, and it comes with these little blue gems. And finally, this one. So this is a brand new set that just came out, but you will see it in the catalog. It's a $23 set because it does come with a stamp set, and it comes with Night of Navy ink spot. So that is the blues set. The other new set that came out this month is called Share a Smile Kit. It's not in the catalog, but I'm sharing it now just because I was showing the other kit. This comes with 8 different note cards. So these are smaller than our A2 cards. They come with sentiments in multiple languages because this is a kit we sell in multiple countries. Sorry for the noise, my plastic bag here. So these are a set of really cute cards to put together quickly because everything's already printed. So you just put it together with some dimensionals that come in the box, and you have a bunch of little note cards to send to an assortment of people for an assortment of reasons. So they're nice, bright, cheery cards. So that's called the Share a Smile Kit, and it's only $14 since it does not come with a stamp set. Um, if you turn the page, you'll notice another set that you have seen before, the Birthday Bash Kit. I've shown that one before. I'm not sure when the Pop-Up Pals kit is coming out. I don't know if this is going to be a June kit or July kit. Not sure, but it's really cute. Um, I think my favorite's the little Triceratops in the middle there. And then we get to some scrapbooking, and it's showing all their workshop sets where they have an entire set of directions for you. They have the Turtley Suite. I'm going to stop at Weekend Adventures because I actually started putting this one together today. This is the instruction sheets that you get with the scrapbook pages. It shows you how to cut each page, and then it gives you a diagram on how to put the pages together. But I don't always follow directions. I cut everything apart, and then I just start trying to see how many other pictures I can get on the page. So for example, down at the bottom, you'll see that's actually the project 3. You see how they did the card? They only put 1 picture on this page and 2 pictures on this page. Well, I didn't do that. I actually got 3 pictures on the first page, but you see, I still followed their basic design, but then just moved things over and put in more pictures. And here is the other page. They only had these 2 pictures, and I actually put in room for 3 more pictures, and still kept the sentiment piece there. So just because they only put 1 or 2 pictures on their pages, you can actually fit more. Now, one of them I did do, they already had, actually, they only had 3 pictures on this page. No, they didn't. They had 4. So this one I did pretty much like they said, because it did have 4 pictures. And I'm still working on the rest. But I just wanted to show you an example of the scrapbooking kits. They come with die cuts and sticker sheets, but you do have to cut the DSP, which is different than our virtual scrapbook weekend, which is coming up in July. I advertised it on my blog. Everything in those kits is already pre-cut, so all we're going to do is assemble. I'll show it to you when mine comes. But once again, so we're just going to kind of skip through this section. And then we get to page 24, which starts our ephemera pages. And the first thing I'll talk about is in the bottom corner is the Greetings for All pack, because these are just a set of sentiments that cover birthdays, Christmas, Easter, congratulations, get well soon. It just has all sorts of sentiments in black and white and black. So when you order this set, it actually comes with 6 pages. You'll get 2 of each of these designs. If you signed up for June, July, and August, you actually will get a set of 3 of these. So you'll get half a pack just for signing up for all 3 classes. And then, of course, you'll also get entered into that drawing for this $75 shopping spree, which we will draw at our June class. So tonight will be the last night to sign up for all three classes and that drawing. Also on this page, they have some new card sets. These card sets are bigger than our normal A2 sides. So these are actually 4¼ by 6¼ So they're a little longer. Okay. So they would fit our memories and more cards. So there's red striped and then there's blue. These are also striped, but it's a little skinnier. And then the envelopes match. So those are the textured stripes and mixed and match. And then also on this page, we have embossed specialty cards. So let me show you. Yeah, this is the dotted one. I don't know if the dots will show up, but this is embossed with all sorts of dots. And they also embossed the back flap of the envelope to make them match. Once again, it's 4¼ by 6¼ So they'll fit the memories and more. I simply used one of our sets that I haven't shown yet that's coming up in the catalog that has the word bloom. It has the shadow, and I did silver for the skinny part. Bloom where you're planted. So this has stripes, the embossed stripes on it, but that's the last thing to show you here. You'll notice these a touch of gold tags. Those are different from what I already showed you. What I already showed you are not tags. They're just simply pieces. They could be used as tags, but they have to have a hole punched in. So these are completely different on this page. And once again, Stampin' Up! Has given you several designs down here to copy and all sorts of extra pieces. Once again, more ideas. And they actually gave scrapbooking layouts on this page. So how you can use the ephemera pieces to make scrapbooking pages. On page 30, these are some of our products that we've had for a while, the Memories and More cards, the basic black album. This is a really tiny album for the 6x8 cards. Something new we got this time are journaling pens. And here are the journaling pens. They come in a set of 3. And if you're familiar with micron markers, they have the felt tip. I don't know if you can see that, it's so small. You can, it's just a really nice writing pen, very small felt tip for scrapbooking or for adding extra details on your cards. And then we have the birthday Memories and More pack. So the Memories and More pack is called Celebration Expressions. So looks like we always have 2 sides to each one. That one says, what a crowning achievement. Dots. And this one has different, it says thank you in several different languages and then has the dots. And then finally, I'm making sure this also has several different ways to say good luck, anniversary, wow, and then it has it in different languages. And then it just has the stripes. So I'm pretty sure there's just 6 of the smaller ones. Let me see if I missed any. Oh, I did. This one. This one looks very similar to this one, but I know it's not the same because it has a different back to it. So, and then, so these are 3x4 cards, and then it comes with the 4x6 cards. And what I've done to these is I cut them down to fit on an A2 card. I really like the stripes. I think those are my favorite. And the balloons as well. I've already shown you that one. So that's a repeat. Yep. I feel like there's another one that I'm missing here, but we might see it in the cards. So what I like to do for fun is to challenge myself. I take an entire set of the Memories and More cards and see how many cards I can make with it. So these are the cards I have made using the Memories and More that I just showed you. Now, almost all of them have balloons, and you're saying, we don't have a balloon punch anymore. No, but we do have the bumblebee punch. So this is actually the bumblebee. You see his little stinger there is the bottom. I've inked the sides, and then I did use a white marker to add the little embellishments there. So each of these cards features a different one of the Memories and More cards, and then the fake balloons made out of the bumblebee. And I did add some of the in color pearls to some of them. And this is a stamp set that will be coming up in just a minute called Layered Thoughts. That was a set they gave us at convention to use on our make and takes. So if you need a lot of birthday cards, this is a quick way to make a lot. And with the bumblebee. So this is that next set I was talking about. I think it's on the next page. Let me double check. I accidentally closed my catalog. Actually, it's 2 pages. So the Memories and More were on page 31. And 32, it's looking at the classic Stampin' Spots. And the only thing I want to point out on this page is there was a problem with our cloud cover ink. When it was put on our foam, it had a color shift, or what they call a color shift. It chemically reacted with the pad and wasn't giving a consistent color. So they could not release the stamp pad for cloud cover, but they could release it as a stamping spot because our stamping spot are made with the felt, a different material. Instead of the foam, it's like a little felt pad. So you can get the cloud cover as a Stampin' Spot, or you can buy the blank Stampin' Pot spots and get the refill because there's nothing wrong with the color of the ink. It was the chemical reaction with the pad. So that's why you won't see the cloud cover as a full ink pad. So on page 34 is that Layered Thoughts stamp set that you saw a sample of. So we made it convention using the Memories and More cards. This is the the little tiny card. Then this is the 4x6 card using the Memories and More cards and this stamp set. And we also made a scrapbook page. So this is the scrapbook page we made by cutting up the Memories and More cards and using the stamp set. Then if you send a lot of graduation cards, there's a really big card size congrats. Then on the next page, page 36, is encircled with love. And this goes with a lot of our new, goes with our circle punches. And later on, you'll see that we do have a brand new circle punch, but it has not been released yet. We're still waiting for it to come from the manufacturer, is all I can figure on that one. It got delayed, so I don't even have the 1 7/8 punch yet, but it's coming. So the Encircled with Love set, you can simply stamp and then use one of the other circle punches to punch them out. And I combine them with some of our in color DSP. And I use 2 different circle punches to get the layers here to put the happy birthday wishes. This one, I simply stamped it in the pretty peacock and then I layered it on top of an embossed piece of white. So it might be hard to see that embossing. This is the pressed flowers embossing. And just had that little pop of color around the side to match the ink. And then this one, I stamped it one of the circles 3 different times, layered it with all of those colors, and then used that new corrugated embossing folder. It was an online exclusive, I think in May. No, not May, March. Sorry, it was the online exclusive from the last batch. So those are definitely some fun, quick, easy cards with that stamp set. Then we just have some stamp sets that we've had are just being continued. Then we are looking at the Florals in Bloom Suite collection. So like I said, the sale that's coming up, the entire suite is $122 because that comes with everything that you see on these 2 pages. The DSP, 2 die cuts, 2 stamp sets, the pearls, all of that comes in the suite. So that will be on sale. It's buy one, get one half off. But if you don't want the whole suite, maybe you just want the dies or whatever, since they're part of a suite, they'll also be buy one, get one half off. So keep that in mind. So here are all the stamps. There's actually 2 stamp sets in this suite, Sweet Blooms. And I've already used the die cut on that white card. I used the bloom, and then I also used the little flowers here. So that's one stamp and die cut set. And here's the other. And these are just all flowers in this stamp set. It has no sentiments on it. But they are 2 steps. So you have the background stamp, then you have the details of the flowers, then you have the stem. So it's actually 3 separate stamps to make those flowers. And here are the die cuts that we'll be using in our July class. So in July, we'll be using these sets of flowers right up there. But once again, you can use the stems with the stamped images or with the die cut images. So the first, oh, I'll go ahead and show you the DSP first. So the DSP is called Florals in Bloom. Has nice big flowers with the nice simple background on the one side. A little more colorful background. This is that cloud cover color. Little tiny flowers. I think this is, I just love the blues and the purple, so I think that's my favorite sheet. I actually like the background too of that one. So that's the DSP for that set. And there were such bright colors in that DSP. This is the only subtle card that we're making in July. We're using Bubble Bath, I think, to make these flowers, Bubble Bath and Fresh Freesia, to make this card in July. Then we're going to brighten it up a little with the Timid Tiger here. Another partial front card using the beautiful die cut. And I said they were all going to be bright. I forgot. The DSP is bright, but I put it with the Secret Sea and the cloud cover. And this is stamped on the inside. And this is using one of the new embossing folders called Damask. And then the final card we're making in July, we're making 2 of each of those, is the really bright card, where we're combining both the die cuts, and it sits up like that for a display card and folds together. So those are all the cards for July. Also part of this suite were the in color pearls. And like I said, you have a whole set of these in color pearls because I gave them to you for your debut cards. And if you came on late, yesterday on my blog are all the instruction sheets for your debut cards. So getting back to the catalog, that was that entire suite. Gives you more ideas of how to use the die cuts on some other cards, shows you some scrapbooking. You'll notice some of the die cut flowers can come directly from the DSP as well as the stamps. And then we get to another suite called Turtley Cute. And we did use this DSP for the candy card. And then, of course, I also gave you a turtle card to make. You did have to fussy cut. You'll notice I could have die cut it, but I didn't buy this set. So it will die cut 3 different turtles as well as the balloon, the ice cream. So there's lots of fun die cuts that you can stamp and die cut or die cut directly from the paper. So this is the Turtley Cute. They got the little turtle doing all sorts of antics, um, from gardening to bird watching. And this is part of a bigger scene. There's actually several different scenes on that paper. I tend to like the other side because I thought these look like gumdrops for the candy jar that we did. Swimming and barbecuing. There's the stripes. We have the turtles playing musical instruments. And then finally, the birthday turtle. So most of your turtles for your card came from this set. Not everyone got a balloon. I tried to give everyone a little birthday hat that they can fussy cut and put on their turtle. And then I gave something for the turtle to hold. So you notice his hand, um, I guess his turtle nails, toenails, fingernails are on the other side. So that's why it looks like his hand's chopped off. It's not really chopped off. Oh, and that's yellow music notes on the back of that. So everyone's turtle will look different. My turtle, I did fussy cut the hat to put on his head, and I fussy cut the balloon to put in his hand. Some of you might have a birthday cake, so everyone's card will look different. And once again, this is just some of the combinations of the other side of the paper, matched with the Darling Duckling, which is the new in color, along with the shaded spruce, which is an older color. So even if you don't like turtles, there's some really cute designs on the other side that are very useful for making cards. I do not have this embossing folder, but I may end up getting it because it actually reminds me of I can't talk, elevations on a map. And since my kids do a lot of hiking, and a topical map would have those signs, thick and thin lines. So it actually reminded me of that as well as a turtle. Oh, you can see more of the turtle scenes that come on this DSP. Um, it's kind of like a page we've had in the past where you can put the turtle in different scenes and more of the die cuts. And then we get to the beautiful gallery suite. And this is the suite that we will be using for our August class. So we will be using all 12 sheets of DSP to make your cards. This suite comes with 2 stamp sets. One has sentiments, one does not. Some of the die cuts do not cut out all the way. They actually cut out partially, so they're more decorative on the paper instead of being things that you can actually cut all the way out. So keep that in mind when you're getting this set. These are the 2 flowers that we're actually using, as well as the frames in some of our cards. And this is the suite that the Damask Designs embossing folder. It's another 6x6 embossing folder. And these are really cute metal adhesive dots, and they have what they call a pressed flower in it. But I will tell you, they are very heavy. Um, they are not they're not really, they don't stick up that much, but they're just very heavy because they are metal. So here is one of the stamp sets, the beautiful motifs. You'll see that I used just a note and hello on several of the cards that I've designed. Here's what I mean by it does not cut out all the way, but you can flip up the leaves to make a decorative impression on your paper. Same with this one, parts of it come out, and same with the corner. You can actually stick something in the corner there, but these two completely cut out. So nothing's wrong with your die cut. They're made to be that way. So that's the beautiful motif. The gallery in blooms, all the blooms you can die cut out. And then it also comes with frames. And this frame, you cut out all at once, both frames. In other words, the die is just one piece and it cuts out both those frames at the same time. So those are the stamps and the dies in that suite. And like I said, I've already showed you the, oh no, I didn't show you. I just showed you in the catalog. These are the pressed flowers dots. And like I said, I can't describe how heavy these are. I should have weighed it so then I could have told you, but they're amazingly heavy. They don't look as heavy as they are. Um, and then here is the embossing folder that comes with this set, or if you ordered the entire suite. And here is the DSP. The DSP is 6x6. And I actually have it divided into 4 different sections for the door prizes because I did not want to cut the paper. So let me show you the first 4. It kind of reminds me 1920s, 1930s calendar maybe. And then it has kind of a sketch on the back. I like the water scene, the beach. And then it has a nice watercolor brown on the back. The old town, it almost looks like the Capitol building back there. Then what I call that a wallpaper design. And this actually has an Asian flair to it. I don't know, something about the leaves makes me think Asian, and then the nice gray. So that's 4 of the sheets. And then the next 4 has a house and just some nice brown textured. It's hard to say whether it's just cloudy, stormy landscape, very muted, and some roses, some more flowers, and then another watercolor on the back. And then the last 4 are all florals. So you see the beautiful florals and a map on the back. So that is all 12 designs of the 6x6 paper for gallery blooms. And of course, you can see all 12 of those papers on my blog on the class calendar. With the flower paper, we're going to be making this Z-fold card. We haven't made one. I don't think we've made one quite like this, where the center panel is separate and it moves out. I just thought it was neat the way that even though I cut the flower apart, it still goes together when it's flat. You know, not perfectly, but it still matches pretty well. And each of these cards we will make with a different flower paper. So I actually have them all here. So I guess it would make sense to show them all to you so you can see how they look. So there's the flowers in the vase. This is the same card design, but with all 3 flower. Hi, Nancy. So, like I said, we'll be making all 3 of those in August. Then we will be making 3 of these cards, which I showed you guys the other day. This has wings. You fold out the wings and we fold them back on each other. And this center part will actually flip up and it makes a display card that will pop up from the background. But then we can tuck those wings back in to squeeze it into the envelope. But I definitely think that it should go with the package. And so we'll use that with the nautical theme, the mountain theme, and then that city theme. So each of those cards will look completely different. And that's where the 12th piece of paper went. Each of these uses a different background paper. So these cards actually use 2 pieces of the DSP, or 1.5 pieces, I should say. The other half of those cards went to make these cards. So this is our simple card for this class. We're just simply using the leftover strip from that other card to make these 3 cards. And then the final 3 sheets of designer series paper from this set, we will be making these arched trifold cards. So there's one. And I changed out the color of the fern depending on the color of the background paper, because sometimes, like this one, the green got lost a little too much. So I changed that one out. And same with this. I changed it to the crumb cake. So each of those will have a different flower. Each one shows a different scene. And we'll be using my favorite birds and dragonflies on those cards. So this is the August class. So like I said, sign up for all 3 summer classes. You'll get the ephemera set and a chance to win that $75 shopping spree. So let me know tonight if you want to do all 3. Let's see. So that was page 55 in the catalog, all the gallery blooms. More of the pressed flower dots. And then we're going to get to another suite. I can't say that I'm saying this exactly correct. Kintsugi inspirations. Apparently, that's a Japanese term talking about the way they would repair pottery. So if they broke pottery in Japan, they would take metal and glue it back together by soldering the pieces back together. And so you'd have this broken pottery that they were still using because they would use gold or something else to put it back together. I don't know what materials they use, but that's the story we were told, so that's what I'm telling you. So, it's a beautiful Asian inspired set. I did not get this stamp set in the die cut, but you notice the die cuts will die cut out those pots and vases. There's an embossing folder that once again has that broken look to it and some more metal um, adhesive dots. But what I did get is I did get the DSP. And I cut this one funny. Normally I cut all of the DSP 4 by 5 1/4, but I didn't want to mess up the pot. I wanted whoever got this as a door prize, I wanted to make sure you got 4 pots there. So that's why I didn't cut that all the way up. And it has the gold, this is specialty DSP, so it has the gold foiling on one side, and then it has a plain design on the other. This is another one. I think this is my favorite, the little blue flowers with gold and pink on the back. And then they have the white lines with swirl on the back, blue with the lines, and pink on the back. Forgot to turn that over. And then they have some gold lines with some leaves on it. So the backs are very nice too. It looks like petal pink, misty moonlight, and cloud cover, but all the other sides have that gold foiling. So since I didn't buy the die cuts, I just fussy cut the pots and made some cards with just the pots. And you'll notice that this comes from those more messages dies that I showed you earlier. So there you go. That's one. Here's another one using the white. And this one um, is a display card. So it actually folds up like this and can sit up. So it doesn't, it looks really busy on the screen. It's not quite as bad in person. You have that cracked pottery in the background and then the blue pottery on the side, and it stands up. This is called a bandstand card. And this is what I put on the back, more of the blue. And then I fussy cut the little flower to stick on the back there. So that was a fun card to make. And later on, you'll be seeing a different version that's actually going portrait instead of landscape. So it shows you more ways you can use those. And then we get to the Boho Vibes collection suite. Um, Once again, this suite, I bought the DSP is the only thing I bought. Um, I think I need to go buy the dots because I like the flat dots and I like the colors in the DSP. And remember, I showed you some cards made with that, with the cats and the dogs. So I already showed you designs. Here they are, made with the boho designs. But since I didn't get the stamp set, I just combined it with that Hugs and Healing set from Online Exclusive. Definitely earth tone colors. So if you like earth tone colors, it is 6x6 DSP. So I divided it into two door prizes. And this time I did cut it down 3x6. So it has some nice simple designs on the back. Some dashes and dots. A lot of rainbows on this paper. You'll see this paper one more time when I show you that other bandstand card. I put it with the cone flower, so we'll see it in a little bit. I like the swirls on this paper, or the waves on that paper. A lot of petal pink mixed in with those colors. Like I said, very earth tony with those mossy meadow and Cajun craze. I'm going to take a quick sip since I do a lot of talking in this class. So let's see. Now we're back to memory keeping again. And the reason they circle back to it is because now they're showing you the stamp sets that they make really big sentiments. Now, some of them are still perfect for cards when you like nice big sentiments. But their main focus is scrapbooking for these. It shows the two-tone paper you can get as a set that matches the DSP. On this page, if you just want the DSP, you need to order it using the single number in the back that we'll look at. This DSP comes with the sticker sheet. So if you're wondering why this DSP is 17 here and 12.50 in the back, this $17 version comes with this sticker sheet. So that's the difference here. So just wanted to point that out, why there's different item numbers and different prices. So this is the stamp set. Like I said, nice big sentiments. And I did make a card with it. So I made a Mother's Day card using the flower from this stamp set. Once again, I did just fussy cut it. It didn't have a die cut. Use that damask embossing folder, and then the nice big Mothers Are a Blessing stamp from this technically scrapbooking stamp set. The next page is the Turtley Cute. Once again, it's the same DSP, but now they're putting it together with the stickers. Now, I will also go back and point out that it's also different from the workshop kit. The workshop kit comes with the DSP, the cardstock, the sticker sheet, and die cut sheets. You cannot get the die cut sheets any other way except in the workshop kit. So if you just like the paper and the stickers, you can get them together and pay for the cardstock separately. But if you want the die cuts, even if you don't want to use their design sheets, you can still get everything together. But it does come with a really nice instruction sheets. The next page, page 71, has another stamp set that I liked. The Celebrate Together. Once again, it had nice big sentiments for scrapbooking, but I liked this floral card, and you'll notice it's kind of it's wavy at the top and wavy at the bottom. That's so it will fit together so that you can stamp it continuously. Okay, so it's kind of like a tessellation, right, Carrie? It fits together like puzzle pieces. So even though it looks like a small stamp, you can continue. You can continue it sideways, but it will also fit together on the short sides as well. So you can actually cover an entire sheet of paper with this stamp in whatever color you want. So I actually use the Versamark. I don't know if you can see it very well on the background. And then I use berry burst on the top. Then I just used this little index tab and then stamped a sentiment on it. And these are some sequence dots. And I just realized I moved that one. So press it down a little harder. Those are some of the adhesive back sequin dots that we have. So that's Celebrate Together. I'm actually moving along pretty good, much faster than I normally do. All right. So this is the set that I showed you before, but this time on page 73, it shows you the stamp set. A nice big adventure starts here, which is perfect for scrapbooking. But for a card design, I actually like the mug and the flower. So I just stamped on crumb cake, and the alcohol markers do work on crumb cake. It's a very muted color, but I did color each of these flowers with the alcohol markers. And I used the pressed flower um, adhesive dots on this as well. So, and Forever Plaid in the background. I couldn't decide what to put, whether I should stamp, relax, enjoy, cheers. I finally just left it blank because I couldn't decide what word to use on that card. All right. Then page 74, if you're into scrapbooking, this is a product that was brought over from close to my heart. They had these little plastic pages called flip flaps where you could actually stack them on their page and give more space. Then we now have larger scrapbooks on that page. On page 77, we have all the two-tone cardstock. 78, just more ideas. And then finally we get to our bundles. So now we're back to our card making bundles, and we're starting with that notes and totes that we're going to be using in our June class. So let me hold that container up. So page 81, these are the stamps that go with notes and totes. Mostly sentiments and then just some decorations for decorating your tote. Once again, you'll notice there's like a little indent on this side, and this side pokes out because it's made to fit together so you can tessellate them, if I use the term correctly. These are the die cuts. So these are really fun. um, part of this set. You can actually make a stand-up tote bag by putting two of these die cuts together. We're just going to use one side and put it on a card. This is actually the handle, but one of the other demonstrators put little circles on the end and it made it look like headphones. So if you got a teenager who or a grandchild that uses headphones all the time, there's little buckles. There's actually a fence post, starfish, some fun sunglasses. This right here is actually a newspaper. So you can stamp like news flash at the top, and it looks like a newspaper hanging out of the tote bag, along with some sunscreen, some lotion, a water bottle, all sorts of little items, even the purse scarf, which I think was made famous by 31, I think, having bag scarves on all their stuff. So the cards we are going to make for the June class are going to be made with those garden foil that we saw earlier. And you have a choice. If you leave this open, you can actually tuck something, maybe a little money, maybe a gift card inside um, that bag. So we're going to make a pink and a blue one for the June class. Then we're also going to make two of these. So you'll see the handles and the triangles. And this is a stand-up easel card. So we'll make two of these. Both of these will be the same color. So, and then turn the page. You are going to, on page 82 is the Coneflower Celebration. And also I'll go ahead and point out on page 83, that's that 1 7/8 punch, which I told you is not in stock yet. Hopefully it'll be in stock soon. And it comes in a bundle or separately with the Silly Safari. It's not bundled with the other set, it's bundled with this set. But hopefully, right now you can get the stamp set, and hopefully soon you'll be able to get the 1 7/8 punch. But the set that I did buy was page 82, the Coneflower, and it looks like I forgot to put my label on it. So it's just Coneflower. These are all the sentiments. Has the huge flower stamp that you can put on the die cut or use it by itself. So here's the stamp die cut. Each of the die cuts is a separate piece. So this is 4 different die cuts, and then there's the butterfly die cut. Now, there's also a die cut, excuse me, the same die cut that cuts out the flower. Actually, you can cut a little flap with it. So it's like a hidden message on the inside for that card. So it has a separate die cut for the center, a die cut for the delicate flowers, and then the base. Now, like I said, the base does fit the stamp. 2 layers for our leaves, and then another decorative piece over there. So here is my stamped card. So this one I just simply stamped. The stem fits right up against it, and then you can stamp your flowers. And then I use alcohol markers to color it. This one is a die cut version, and I don't know if you can see the background. This is the new Design Resist paper. It's a specialty paper. You can actually use your blending brushes on it, and these epoxy leaves will not take the color, so you can kind of blend the outside. And I meant to do a sample of that, and I didn't want to do it on this card and then forgot to do it on another card. But basically, whatever has this epoxy on it will resist the ink so that you can have a DSP, whatever color you want, by just blending the color on it. And here is our portrait bandstand card. So here's our daisy with more of the boho DSP. We fold it up like that, and it will stand up and make a 3-dimensional card. And once again, it just has cardstock on the back to write on, but it makes a pretty little display floral. And then it lays flat and fits in the envelope quite well. It's one of the flatter pop-up cards, as it were. And we've talked about the punch. And this is a really cool set. I have not invested in it yet. Um, you have several options. The Extraordinary Flora stamp. This is one big stamp, and then it has one big die cut. So it's like the more messages. You can stamp all of this and die cut all of it at once. So stamp, die cut. If you don't want to stamp, they're also selling this washi tape that is perfectly aligns with the die cut. So you see the die cut is just one big piece. Now here's the trick. You do need to put the washi tape on something. So it is vellum washi tape, so you can put it on another piece of vellum if you want it to have that see-through look, or you can put the washi tape on top of white paper and then die cut it. Because if you try and just put your washi tape on your die cutting plates, it's going to pick up whatever little bits of paper or um, imperfections on your die cut sheet. But it actually shows you how you can die cut the whole washi tape, but you do put the washi tape on something first. I would suggest vellum or white paper. And the flowers alternate. There's a pink set and then a purple set. So as you roll out the washi tape, it alternates the sets of colors. And then on page 86, I talked about this banner set earlier. These banners go all the way up to like 7 inches. So if you like making banners for parties, you can use the really big one. The card that I showed you earlier, use this little bitty one. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 14 different dies in this set, which is why it's $40. And then you also have circles so that you can cut out the corners. And it also even has the little reinforcements so that when you're putting ribbon through your holes, you can reinforce them with the other little die cut. And then if you really like making banners and want the nice big letters to go with it, we have the letter die cuts on the other side. I did not die cut every single letter. We just have A, B, C, the and the exclamation point. But you'll notice it has foreign symbols as well for Spanish, and it has the S set for German. So, because those are all places stamping up cells. So that's definitely a great party set. You can make cards with it, but it has to be 3-letter words. Or in my case, I used hi for 2 letters. But you see the different samples. I like the boxes where they made the initials for everybody. And here is the card I made. So first, I actually used the exclamation point upside down so that I could have a lowercase I to just spell hi for a simple card. What I did was I actually die cut out of the white and then just put a 3 by 3 inch square of the DSP behind it. This is some of the DSP that comes in all 50 colors. They come in family sets. So that's what this is. This is actually one of the In Colors Secret C. I put that behind the white and then I embossed it using the exposed brick. So everything's embossed. Well, since I cut the white out, I had the white pieces left over. So this time I put the white on top of the DSP. So this is, I cut it out of the white here, but then I put it on here and layered it onto more DSP. And then once again, embossed the white and the DSP together and then put it on the card base. Okay. You don't want to emboss too much at once, but a thin piece of DSP and regular cardstock are fine to put together. You wouldn't do the whole card base because that would be too much. But just the cardstock and a little DSP is fine to go through the embossing folder together. And this one, I used the Forever Plaid. So those were just 2 little cute cards. made with the alphabet set. And just like our everyday arch card, I used the banner, made sure I put the cutting edge past the fold so that I could make a shaped card. Now, this sailboat was stamped and embossed and cut using the hybrid embossing folder. And then I layered it on top of an embossed piece of white. So I have the rest of the embossing there as well, which I know is harder to see. But this is pretty much just like our everyday arch card, but using the banner set instead. The next page, page 89, is the right words. So this is a great sentiment set for the outside of the card as well as the inside. It has all sorts of sentiments, including your happy birthday, um, the thinking of you, and then it has several sentiments that are good for birthdays as well as sympathy and missing you. So this is a great everyday set to cover lots of occasions. Then we have some little kid sets for just me and you, playground sets. So these look like great sets for Aura. So then on page 93, these are really large stamp sets that can be used together or they are separated as well, these different decorations, as well as these wreath sets. And then on page 94, we get to some bird sets. So it has several different kinds of birds. So at convention, they knew everyone was going to ask, what are the birds? So I have a cheat sheet that tells me what the birds are. So we have a set of lovebirds, we have some titmouse, we have some sparrows, and we have some parakeets. Now, these are also reverse stamps. It's showing you two different stamps. This is the same stamp, just once one it's flipped over. So that if you want to color the whole background of the bird, you can stamp on the reverse side first, clean it, flip over your stamp, and then stamp the details. So it's symmetrical so that it fits. Now, with the parakeets and the sparrows, you have to use the alternate bird. So there's a left and right bird. So if you want to stamp the left-hand bird, you need to use the back of the right-hand bird to color in the background, if that makes sense. You kind of draw little arrows like this to say this is the background that's going to color that. This is the background that's going to color that one. So, um, or you can just use alcohol markers and not worry about using the back. But this is what I meant. So, the background is stamped using the reverse side, and then I flipped over the stamp and stamped the detail. Okay. Same with the parakeets. I flipped each one. Same with the sparrows. So you can I basically stamped off first to get the lighter color. So that's when I stamped on something else, then stamped on this so that my color would be lighter. And I combined it with those blooming phrases. And I did fussy cut because this set does not have die cuts. So I stamped with the blooming phrases around, and then I stuck the little parakeet down in the corner there. This one I did fussy cut again, but I stuck them on top of an oval and I stamped his little twig there for him to sit on. And then here are some of the lovebirds using the oval that we just used in May and a leaf die cut from that same set. And notice this is also the blooming phrases, but remember how I said if you don't ink up the entire stamp, you can just stop it. So it looks fine. It just looks like the end of your cursive there instead of having the really long line going off. Then finally, this was from one of the sentiments from the scrapbooking sets, a nice big always together, one of our frames, our birch embossing folder. Now this time after I embossed it, I took, actually I cheated. I've never tried this before, but I took my block and I actually put ink on my entire block and just gently laid it on top of the embossing so that it only got the raised sections. Okay. So I was actually taking my ink and just inking the raised sections of the embossing. So you can do that with a brayer, but I didn't feel like getting out my brayer. So I just used a blank block, stuck it in my ink, and stuck it on just the top of the embossing. I didn't want to press too hard because then you'd get ink everywhere. So just another little technique for adding a little color to your embossing folders. The last set was another set that was given to us at convention. It's on page 95 called Along These Lines. So once again, these will fit along with those blooming phrases. It kind of looks like these are the kind of pictures you draw never picking up the pen. So you're starting here and they're drawing this entire, well, nope, I take that back. They picked up the pen right there and started over. Usually you don't pick up the pen when you do these kind of drawings. So I made a tiger card and I really should have stamped him in a darker color because you can barely see him. And I accidentally used the fern background, which is discontinued. I didn't realize that till after I made the card. But also this set comes with some long lines. So I decorated the back, which is hard to see because it's early espresso. But that was the tiger card. I added some bicycles and I took the blooming phrases. So happy, it connected with the bicycle. And then the birthday connected with the bicycle on the other side. And then I just put cakes in between. Little hard to see on the video. This one's a little easier to see. It's the rows going from top to bottom. Then I just used the same blooming phrases, happy birthday, and just didn't ink up that whole line. Let's see. We're almost done. We have a Father's Day set. We have a beautiful tree. This tree is one really big stamp. Um, Then we have our section where it shows all the sets that are continuing. Some of the sets are also continuing online. So just because it's not in the catalog doesn't mean we don't have it anymore. So make sure you check that online exclusive section. We have all of our tools on these page 103. They did go back and put all the punches on one page. So the only new punch is the circle punch and the the sweet jar is not on here because the sweet jar is online. So that's a little confusing. Our other new punch is online exclusive. This has some of our die cuts, but once again, it doesn't have all the die cuts because a lot of them are online. This has the embossing folders that are shown in the catalog. So it brought back some of the indexes that we didn't have in last year's catalog. You'll notice we don't have as many blocks as we used to. They did get rid of some of the blocks that people, I guess, didn't use as much. I think it was the itty bitty block, the A, and then they got rid of the G because the H is used the most when you need a long block. Simply Chamois for those who want a cleaning pad. Once again, more tools on this page. Then finally, we're getting to the specialty DSP, our specialty paper. We still have the silver and gold foils. We have the watercolor, the window sheets, the metallic texture, the wood texture. But if you turn over to page 116, you'll notice the Regal Distress patterns were from the Christmas catalog. So those are continuing over. And here is that resist paper that I was talking about that I showed you, but you couldn't really see because I didn't use the blending brush. So you'll see in the catalog how they use the blending brush and the white embossing really pops out. They have leaves, they have a plaid, and I forget what the last one is. Let me see. Oh, and the last one are just some flowers. So like I said, if you put blending brushes on here, it's almost like magic paper. You'll see the design come out. So this has one each of the leaves, the plaid, and the petals. And it's called Irresistible Designs because it resists the ink. They added our index of DSP again. In the DSP share that I advertise, I did not use the old DSP. So if it's continuing over um, from another catalog, then I didn't include it in the DSP share. Only the ones that say new were included in the DSP share along with the online exclusive um, set. So you notice I put an O next to all of the older ones. Also in the DSP share, I didn't think everybody wanted every single color. So that would be like 60 colors of the same DSP. So in the DSP share, I only included the 25, 27 in colors. But just know that this same paper, it's 6x6 paper, comes in every color family. So I actually really like the designs this year on this paper, and you saw some of the cards that I made were pretty simple with it. Um, but it comes in every single color that we have. And then we got back to the envelopes, all the new embellishments and some of the old, and our ribbon, more tools, more specialty ink pads. Remember the stays on ink pads are our alcohol ink pads. We have the Memento, which is our water-based black. Versamark, that one card I said I used Versamark on, when you ink with it, it just kind of creates a shadow, but usually Versamark is used for embossing, for wet embossing, is typically what we use it for. And we still have the cracked white um, ink pad as well. Once again, more ideas talking about the different ways to emboss, showing all the different colors. And then finally, we get to our color collection. We still do have our color coach. Um, Also, inside your packet that I gave you, you should have received your little in colors. So here's your little cards to add to your ring that I think I gave you several times ago. Nancy, you probably don't have one, but I still have an old one I can give you, and you can stick these on the ring. So if I remember to put it in your next kit, I can give you the whole ring of colors. And so these are the latest in colors um, to add to that color ring. You'll notice that you have your basics first, then your in colors, your 24 to 26, your 25 to 27. And you will notice that because at the time they printed the catalog, they do have the stamp pad here, but it's not being sold as a classic stamp pad, the cloud cover, because of the color shift. Now, I did see that they have it on Last Chance, but I'm not sure if they just have, I thought it was just for demonstrators. So I don't even think you can order it on Last Chance, but I could be wrong because I did see it there today. Um, just know that it might not actually be the right color because of that color shift. So the best thing to do if you do want that color, because it is a pretty grayish blue, you can order the refill and then use the little blank stamping spots to fill that to make your stamp pad, or you can buy the ink spots that have the cloud cover in there. Once again, the page 138, 139, these are all of our colors. If it has a dash, those are the blends that they never came out with. So we still don't have a crushed curry blend. We don't have a garden green alcohol marker, but we do have all of the colors in our water-based markers. Um, Then we have our paper pumpkin advertisement. Once again, on my blog every week, you'll see the latest paper pumpkin. We have our index by product. And I did forget to show you when I was on that DSP page, these are the new DSP that come in every color. So when you buy a pack of this paper, you will actually get, this is the in color. So the in color, you actually only get 40 sheets because you get 10 designs. Well, it's hard to say. It's actually only 4 designs because you have the flowers, you have kind of like the watercolor, you have the leaves, and you have these watercolor stripes. So those are actually the 4 designs, but each of them come in every single color. So when you buy the in colors, you get 40 sheets total. So you're getting 4 of each of these. You're getting 4 of these, and you're getting, is that right? Did I do my math wrong? Yeah, there should be 10. So yes, four of each of these pages. Oh, there's my cloud cover right there. So your last debut card is actually made with the cloud cover. And I think your white piece is cut smaller than mine. So you'll see on the directions, I had a pink one done with a smaller white. Um, I just accidentally cut mine the wrong color, but that was to show all 4 sides of this DSP. So for the door prizes, I'm putting the flowers and watercolor as one prize, and then the 4 leaves and stripes as another prize. So those are divided up there. And I think the only thing left I have is I had some of the new ribbon here that I haven't used yet. I have it in Secret Sea and Cloud Cover. So that is the new catalog and the online exclusive items. I need to make sure I have everyone's name in the door prizes. So like I said, if it's the 6x6 paper, then it's actually 2 different prizes. And sorry for the glare. Let me see. Did that? That just makes it darker. The glare is actually coming from the light above my head. This is the Japanese paper. The gallery blooms will be 3 different prizes, the flowers, the landscapes, and actually the other landscape. There's 2 different landscape sets that we'll put out here. The turtley cute, the florals in bloom, the celebratory sips, the garden foils, and the floral impressions. And I accidentally stuck trash in here again.
Hey, Trace.
Yes.
You said at the end that you would put out the debut cards again so we could see them.
Yes. Yes.
So, I
So,
want to just take a picture
okay.
Of them.
Yep. Let me see if I can find, let me use, that's not a great background. And there is a picture of all 5 of them online as well.
Right.
So there's the celebratory sips, the sailing card, the sweet jar, the DSP one.
Okay.
So did you get that?
I did. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So yep. So let's see. These are the instruction sheets for all 5 of the cards online on yesterday's blog. So I want to make sure I have everyone's name in here because some people came in after I was writing. And now I think I covered up all my tickets with all the stuff. So we'll just have to rip some more paper. I think it's time we can turn off the recording. So let me turn that off. Oh, nope. cancel that. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't recording it. I thought I hit the record button, but now I don't see.
Oh, I thought it was recording.
You're recording.
Okay, I just can't find where. Oh, there it is. I'm going to turn it off. So I will